For years, experts have vowed that the scourge of drug abuse is ancillary to the rising insecurity across the country. The Borno State Command of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, said it arrested 113 persons for various drug offences in the first quarter of the year in the states. The suspects included those supplying drugs to repentant Boko Haram terrorists. The Commandant of the NDLEA in the state, Joseph Icha, added that they arrested some persons who attempted to supply various types of drugs to surrendered Boko Haram terrorists who are taking refuge in some transit camp in the states. Now, we now see, because the way most of these terrorists, the way they carry out their operations, no normal human being can ever be acting the way these guys. So they must be under the influence of drugs. So at the center of it all,
years of consumption of illicit drugs. Now they claim that they surrendered. They claim that they surrendered, but they still can't do without this thing.
No, you have to. They have to go through proper rehabilitation.
Look at the quantum of cannabis, Indian hemp that they took, that they seized. 94.49 kg. 94.49 kg of cannabis that they were going to give them. You know, there are thousands of them already now. More than 28 to 30,000 are surrendered already. So there are many. And the thing is, yes, there are children, there are women and all that. There are inactive fighters among them, but there are fighters too. And there are some who used to be commanders who are there. So they've been used to consuming these illicit drugs for years in the bush. Once you take them out, they still need those substances. The body continues to demand for it, because the body has been used to years of consuming it. So even many people go through rehabilitation and the rehabilitation doesn't achieve the aim because they damage their bodies beyond repair. Some people don't even emerge from the rehabilitation a changed person. So these guys, we say they are surrendered, but they are still consuming illicit drugs
and that of this quantity. And you can't be normal because if you take
we are just playing with fire.
Yes, for a long time we've been talking about this so-called repentant Boko Haram guys, because if you are still under the influence of these hard drugs, this one, they will turn to bandits, they will turn to terrorists, they will turn to armed robbers.
Truth is, from the early years of the formation of Boko Haram, one of the things the military tried to do when there was so much pressure on the military that you are killing, you are doing this, these are not bandits and all, was to establish very clearly that in most of the camps that they entered into, there were substances that they couldn't even identify some of them, but they were seen as drugs. What dominated those camps in those days, according to the report, were drugs and condoms. Meaning that all of this had little or nothing to do with religion, but just sheer banditry, just sheer criminality.
Aphrodisiacs.
Aphrodisiacs.
Aphrodisiacs were found on them.
So if you are, that's why those who have been saying, see, when people tell you that they have repented, and you are bringing them back into the society, you must be careful.
Dangerous.
Because they are dangerous. They are not people that you can truly say.
You can't trust them.
You can trust. It will just mean that they are coming back into the society to take more people out, into the bushes, into the trenches, to win them over. Because if you can't do without drugs, then you can't be normal. And that's why there's still a lot of fears about what government is actually doing in those campaigns for de-radicalization. It's a big issue. They said there are psychologists there, there are this there, there. No, but we are not seeing the effect. We're not saying it, because if they still have access to drugs, then anything can happen.
Anything. The intake of drugs, as in drug abuse in Nigeria now, has not gotten to a very alarming stage.
It's terrible.
That if care is not taken, our youths between the ages of 13 to 35 are under a very big threat of drug abuse.
Yes. It's terrible. Many lives are being ruined. More will be ruined because of this access to these illicit drugs. And our laws are not strong enough.
So 3 teenagers were sentenced today.
They are not strong enough.
Over drugs, 3.
If we were more decisive and more punitive, definitely this thing will reduce. Look at the way, in the north, for example, Kano, one of the states where drug is abused the most in our country. In fact, a point NDLEA rated Kano as the worst in the country. People abuse codeine. People abuse benylin, cough syrup. They abuse it.
Gum.
This Dunlop solution that is used to seal tires. When your tire gets deflated, you seal. That Dunlop solution, once they inhale it, they are on cloud 9. So all kinds of, there are local drugs made from herbs. So
they improvise.
Yes. But the drugs, what they abuse the most, largely tramadol, codeine, the benylins of this world, the cough syrups,
the loud
rofinol. That rofinol is a date rape drug. They use it for date rape. Once you take rofinol, you give someone rofinol, that person, it wipes that person's memory. So that person cannot come and testify in court against you after the rape, because she will not remember what transpired.
Blackout.
And the unfortunate thing is that it damages the womb of the woman. So it's one of the most dangerous of all. It's one of the most dangerous of all. But they continue. I just saw one of the drugs paraded, and I saw rofinol amongst those drugs. It's a very, very dangerous drug because of the damage that it does to the body.
It's back on
That's
the screen.
rofinol there.
When you even go to some areas in Lagos, the way they hawk these things, you'll be alarmed.
Well, it has gotten to that stage, where we must, like Wiki said, be very careful. Otherwise, we are going to lose the coming generation to drugs. That's what
said they even use couriers now.
Yeah. Yes.
So they'll just bring it to where you are.
Online. Yes, that's what happened.
I think even with this girl that killed Chidima, that was what they did. Because she was talking about the fact that they brought.
Yes. There are some websites
they ordered for it, and it was delivered.
Yes, your doorstep.
Even now, you have so many snacks that contain drugs.
Yes,
cake especially.
Cake,
make it with it, and then you order it. You order it.
Depends on what you want.
You have rice with cannabis, whatever anything at all.
That's why people can hardly live without drugs now. Since they are putting it in their food, they are putting it in their water. I went to repair my phone somewhere, and I saw this boy was clutching this Pepsi bottle. Was clutching it. I said, "What is?" For more than an hour, you are just holding on. What is it?
Pepsi.
Yes. So there's something in it.
He had clearly put codeine inside.
Or a mixture. Or a mixture.
Or the cough syrup. Or more.
Yeah.
Because somebody suggested that I must have put, because of the color of his tongue, I must have put this cough syrup inside. It's just terrible. You see people just moving along. You see, merely looking at him, you know that this one is a junkie. He's gone.
The way they walk.
They're gone. He can barely explain his actions. He has lost
somebody was walking. I was driving today, and somebody was walking. A guy right in the middle of the road. Everybody was just avoiding him, meaning he has just done something to himself. And until when it wears off,
people take syringes and inject themselves, inject cocaine straight into their bodies. I mean, just damaging themselves.